All right, folks, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, share and like these videos with someone that you think could use this information. So, coming at you today with a quick video on maybe one of the biggest lies we've been fed, or the biggest thought process that we as humans have in our own lives, and that is the lie of everything happens for a reason, right? Now, I'm a firm believer that everything does happen for a reason, but how we fall into the lie of this everything happens for a reason. And I think it's because, like a majority of things in life, we're always going to pick and choose when we want to follow our own beliefs or follow this certain belief system, not truly understanding that there is truth in life, right? There is such thing as truth. Um, and once again, I know for some people that's a hard concept to grasp. But once again, I think like anything else in life, it just takes a lot of quiet, deep thinking to truly think these things through. Because the hardest thing you can do in reality is second guess your own beliefs, right? That's what you need to do. That's why they say it's funny how, and I do it myself, a lot of people do it, if you're a conservative, then you're most likely, like a diehard conservative, you're most likely going to listen to a lot of talk radio, because talk radio is dominated by the conservative viewer, or, the conservative point of view. If you're a Democrat, a progressive, a liberal, whatever you want to call it, you're most likely going to watch more of news on TV, because it's more dominated by liberal, progressive, democratic points of view. That's just the way it is, right? But like anything else in life, when you decide to start having these difficult discussions, you're going to truly understand that you need to know more about the other person's point of view, how they think, how they believe, than just listening to your own stuff over and over again. So the only way to be a true great conservative is you have to study Democrat, progressive points of view. To be a great liberal, progressive Democrat, you need to study a lot about a Republican point of view. But in reality, there is common ground. It's just really hard to find it when people are stubborn, which we all tend to be, right? But the reason why I come up with this, the biggest lie is everything happens for a reason. Like I said, we pick and choose. And for me, I came up with this when I was discussing with somebody about pro-life, pro-choice, right? Because I'm pro-life. That's my point of view, being a Catholic. And I was talking to this person, asked them, oh no, pro-choice, da-da-da-da. I'm like, all right, so I'm just sitting there, whatever. Talk to him probably a week later. I'm just sitting there trying to think, like, what can I do to have a conversation with this person? And then I thought to myself, I asked, this was a girl I was working with at the restaurant, like fresh out of high school. I think she was like her first year of college or something like that. She was like 18 or 19. And I look at her and I go, well, I didn't look at her. I was doing something else and, just talking with my back to her. And I said, do you believe that everything happens for a reason? And she was like, oh, yes, I believe that so much. Like, you could be late to work or getting out of your house, your battery's dead, and then you end up needing to get a jump from your neighbor, and that all happened because on the way to work there was a big accident, 10 people died, and you would have been one of those people that died, but that good thing happened for a reason. Or you get sick and you can't go to a party, whatever happens, people get alcohol poisoning, and all because you got sick, you didn't make it, and something great happened out of it. And then my whole point was, well, why don't you feel that way about a pregnancy, even if it's an unintended pregnancy? And then she was just kind of quiet. She didn't say anything. I wasn't going to argue anymore, but it's just getting that point across. But I think we've got to understand that everything happens for a reason. It's only a lie. I believe it to be true. Everything's going to happen for a reason. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're broke next year, it's probably most likely because you're broke and you're in a lot of debt because you didn't save over the last few years. Now, yes, it comes to a point to where maybe, unfortunately, you're not making, you're barely making $8 an hour, like here in Colorado, where it's come out that you need to be making $25 an hour, $24 an hour just to be able to afford a one-bedroom apartment, right? So we understand in that case, but it still comes down to the fact, what are you doing in life to be able to get to that next level? Is it taking on another job? Is it doing whatever? But we've got to understand that everything does happen for a reason, and sometimes you just need to be more creative and try to figure out what you can do. Is it something about, maybe you can go out and mow lawns, you can go out and shovel yards, you can go out and do whatever, But once again, it's only a lie because we don't truly apply it to everything in our life and understand that the great thing about that is you have the ability to make the change in every aspect of life. And one thing to remember as well is, I've heard said in a quote a long time ago is, because then we can get into the whole, the, what are they calling it now? A political term. I can't think of it. But knowing that someone grew up in a ghetto and they're a lot poorer, and then someone that's, blue collar family that becomes successful, someone that's a really rich person and stays successful. If everybody ends up successful, it doesn't mean that just because this person started at the bottom doesn't mean that their accomplishment is any better than the person who started here or started here. As long as you get to this point, you are successful, and that's great. Because some people would say, even if you inherited $10 million today, if you were able to die and in some way, shape, or form, live a great life and be able to still give your child $8 million to live on, $10 million to live on, maybe $11 million, because yes, you spent your money wisely and you were still able to invest and leave more money, you're still a success. You're still a success, Just like the one thing I've heard best about that when people want to make fun of Donald Trump on getting his, $5 million loan from his father or whatever. Well, the great thing is there's a lot, you still got to give him props for being able to be successful, because there's a lot of people that win the lottery and they're dead broke in 2 years, So yeah, you got the loan and he was put in a fortunate situation that he shouldn't have failed, So if you fail, it's even worse, but he did not fail. I mean, so you've got to, yes, he had the help, but you've got to be able to at least give him his due and be like, well, at least you were able to do something with it. And that goes back to the same issue I've had before. If you can say, there are two women, they both get pregnant, one loses, they both lose the baby in a miscarriage, but it affects another person a lot worse than the other one, right? It's still a tragedy. One's not worse than the other. Just because the other lady's not grieving as much doesn't mean it's any worse than the other. It's just a different situation. It's equally bad. It's not worse because this girl is more heartbroken and more emotionally struggling right now. That doesn't make the situation worse for her. It's still an evil situation. One person can just handle it a little bit better, unfortunately, or is a different type of person. But that doesn't mean one is worse than the other, right? So, once again, something to think about. It's truly understanding your values in life and trying to live them on a daily basis. And that doesn't mean you're going to do it perfectly, right? Like, I believe everything the Catholic Church teaches. But for me, I have failed many times. The goal is to not be a hypocrite. The goal is to do your research daily, weekly, monthly, yearly to make sure that you are on the right path and the things that you believe are correct. All right? So don't fall victim to that. Everything happens for a reason, and only use it how you feel necessary. So once again, I hope this helps. Don't forget to follow on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Podcast is out there. Subscribe to this channel. Share and like these videos.